On Demand location, and we're here at ASIN 2013 with Samurai Dan and Jillian and these two beautiful Akitas. Now, what are their names?
This is Naya, and this is her son Kuma. It's actually mother and son.
Oh, really? Well, Naya and Kuma, it is a pleasure to meet you both. Now, it's been, we haven't seen you since MatsuriCon 2012. What's been going on with your lives?
Just a lot of prep, working on stuff. We have some new DVDs for sale, working through the panel information we do for the How to Tell a Real Sword from a Piece of Crap. In other words, is this sword going to survive and be a useful tool to me during the zombie apocalypse? And then a self-defense panel. We've had a lot of requests for that one. We do that panel at a lot of conventions, helping people learn basic ideas and moves to get somebody's hands off of them in a self-defense type situation. And we finally got that down on DVD after many requests. So we do have those both at conventions. Dan's been keeping busy writing. His second novel is in the editing process, and he's starting writing on the third. He actually got to come up here to Chicago and do some research because the third book's set in Chicago. So you guys have a couple years to wait on that one till it's edited and fully out. But other than that, life in general, chasing each other with swords.
Still getting beaten up for a living.
Sounds like a party. Now, by nature, you two are comedians. How do you incorporate that into the work you do?
It only hurts when I laugh. Part of what we do, we run a martial arts school for a living, and there's not a lot of, it's not really a spectator thing. I mean, for all that it's neat and it's exciting, if you've ever been to a martial arts tournament, most of the people that are there are family members, you know, the kid's parents and an uncle or something. Incorporating humor into what we do while maintaining our integrity, that sounds stupid, but we keep the reality to the martial arts, but by making it funny and humorous, hopefully we've been upstaged by the dogs again. It attracts more people are interested, and it actually helps spread what we do, because the more people that can get exposure to self-defense and swordsmanship and the discipline and the benefits to training, the more people that are exposed to that, the more likely people are to start training on themselves. So the humor part is actually an important part of our show. And this year also, we brought the dogs. We raise Akitas. These are Japanese guard dogs. Sometimes they're very friendly. They don't always follow the script. But they're a big hit. In fact, they've been invited back for next year, even though they haven't said whether I get to come back. That's common. But these are actually Japanese guard dogs. We get to take them all over the country to different places. They help us with summer camps with children and things. They're cute, they're fuzzy, and they eat more than I do.
All right. Now, as we've just discussed, you're writers as well. How do you overcome writer's block? And using your martial art techniques, have you incorporated those into pushing through with your writing?
The discipline involved in martial arts, where you don't train when you want to, you train when you have to, when you're supposed to. I'd like to say it translates over into writing, but writing being a creative process doesn't always work that way. The biggest way that I get past writer's block, I'm a huge motorcycle enthusiast. That's the polite term for being an obsessive nut. I go for a ride every day when I write. I go for a ride on the motorcycle. It's what calms me and settles me and helps with that. And then the training discipline of being used to doing things every day, when you combine those two things, it works really well. So that's my routine. I go for a ride, and then I go to a room where it's isolated. I put on music that helps me focus and not just dance around the room being an idiot. And I write until I can't handle it anymore, and then I dance around the room like an idiot and go for a motorcycle ride back home.
All right. Now, your teaching location is in Iowa.
Yes.
How do you like being in that setting? What experience is it like?
You're putting me on the spot, because now I have to say I like being in Iowa. So if I move, everyone's going to be betrayed. Ham. We do really like being in Iowa. We get to travel all over the country. and being located right in the Midwest makes it really easy for us with having antique swords and dogs. We don't fly to very many venues. We tend to drive. So being in Iowa makes an ideal launching platform for that. One of the other benefits to being in Iowa, we're close to a lot of big places. Chicago here, this is an amazing convention, but we're only 3.5 hours away. And yet the house that we live in, we are off of a gravel road. So we get rural, but 15 minutes we're in downtown Iowa City, which is a major Big Ten university town. So we kind of have the advantages. We have a lot of the things the big cities have, but it's still in a small environment. And to me, that's much more peaceful. I like Jill said, I've been up here for a week, and it's been very rewarding, and it's been amazing. But I have a hard time sleeping at night because the city's never quiet. And every time I hear a car door, a gunshot, alarms, that's me jumping up going, who's there? What's going on? The other night I actually jumped in my own hotel room because I came around the corner and saw my reflection in the mirror and thought somebody was in my hotel room to attack me. And he was big and he was scary.
Doppelganger coming to get you. Now you mentioned feedback is a great source for improving your material. What would you say is one of the most entertaining or funniest experiences that you've had up on stage, at least that your fans have brought to your attention?
We did an uncensored comedy panel this weekend, and I bring helpers. Normally I do most of the talking, but my wife will be there to help. We'll bring staff people that do things with, and I bring my children sometimes. And my son was with us this weekend, and so he was sitting at the table behind us, and most of the jokes I used he hadn't heard before, and some of them were family situations that he didn't know about. And so the best part of the comedy show from this weekend wasn't what I said. It was from what his reactions were behind us. And we came across that by accident once, trying to make a joke about sacrificing somebody on stage, where we bring them up and try to get them to sit on the cutting stand. And then I say, we're going to sacrifice this person. And I step past them, so they're behind me making faces, going, I don't want to sit on that spike, kind of thing. So the audience laughs at what they're doing. And we tend to build on that a lot, but the bad story from the uncensored comedy panel and my son not knowing about it and his reactions would have to be is highlight the right term for something we're going to need therapy for? A low point, but a humorous one for the audience, and really the audience is always right. So if they enjoy it, it doesn't matter how much it hurts me or my son.
All right. How has Anime Central been for you all this year, and bringing the whole family out, pets included?
It has been absolutely terrific. We have had a blast this year. Everything has gone great. We have had super, super friendly attendees. And I honestly have to say Chicago has been one of the best places we've ever brought the dogs. We were a little bit leery about bringing the dogs out to a convention this size. But not only was the hotel staff fabulous, the convention staff, the attendees were the most respectful people with the animals of anywhere we've ever been. And part of that, somebody said in Chicago, you don't see a lot of large dogs, and normally if you see them, they're a service animal. So everyone has been super respectful, asking first if they can pet them, not terrifying them by launching screaming face first at them, which does happen in some places, but we have had an absolutely terrific weekend here. We've been well received, the dogs have been well received, and we've just had a blast hanging out with everybody, getting to see old friends, make new ones, and entertain people.
Ditto.
All right. Are there any other upcoming projects that we have not discussed that you would like to talk about? Hello there. Let me do some deft maneuvering here.
Naya has an announcement. We touched on the writing thing already, but it's the middle of May, and my first novel actually got picked up by a publishing company on the East Coast, and it is finally coming out. It's been 4.5 years, but my first horror novel, The Pack, comes out in stores on June 1st. So I have been biting my nails, pulling what's left of my hair out, and stressing constantly, waiting for this to finally happen. So that's like the major thing in our lives. I'm not returning phone calls, text messages, answering. My mom thinks I died and dropped off the planet because I'm just not talking to anyone, because I'm just kind of stressing and waiting for that. We're still doing the conventions. We have ACON in Dallas, is actually the same weekend as the book comes out. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that. I have multiple personalities, so I may just assign one to each stress level, and hope that Jill can just keep me alive and safe for that weekend.
We have helpers.
We have helpers. And Mountain Dew.
True.
Mountain Dew helps. Yes.
I definitely agree with that. Are there any final words that you would like to get to the fans out there watching?
Live long and prosper.
He really enjoyed the new Star Trek movie this weekend, too. Fabulous. But other than that, thank you guys so much for coming to conventions and for hanging out with us and spending time getting to know us and the dogs.
Like us on Facebook. Are
Sam,
you proud of me? I remember
I
that.
am. And we'll see you all soon.
Samurai Dan, Jillian, thank you so much for your time.